Hello, Canadian Führer. Back on the top again. Stalin's diet and fitness. What was that from? What cartoon is that? Ba-dum, 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 ba-dum. Pink Panther. You're right. You are correct. You are correct. He not gonna do it. He not gonna toot the horn. Ba-dum, 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 da-dun, da-dun. He saw me. Did you watch Pink Panther's movie as a kid? Kinda, yeah. It's been a long time. It's been a very long time. Do 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 do. Yeah, I liked the cartoon better. I remember seeing some of the Pink Panther cartoons when I was a kid. Music was a lot more catchy back in the day. I mean, I don't know. You heard Lil Nas X's new song, right? You've heard Wet Ass Pussy. Those some catchy ass tunes right there. What do you usually have for breakfast? Depends. Like I'll have like a bagel sometimes. Sometimes Amelia will make a breakfast sandwich. Sometimes I have nothing. Baby shark, yeah. Baby shark, doop 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 doop. Baby shark, doop doop. You're welcome. That'll be in your head. Grandpa shark, doop 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 doop. Grandpa shark, doop 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 doop. Grandpa shark, doop 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 doop. Grandpa shark. Good evening from Little Rock. Dude, HBO used to have a badass America Undercover documentary series called Bangin' in Little Rock. It's centered around the rise of Western United States style street gangs in Little Rock, Arkansas. It's a pretty interesting documentary, actually. Howdy, Paul. What's good with it? Always pronounced Arkansas like Arkansas. Really? That's not the way it's supposed to be said. Just for the lols? There's no lols involved in that. Somebody lied to you if they told you they lolled at that. Am I still in Louisiana? No. No. If I have my way, I will never be in Louisiana ever again. Unless it's like a stopover flight, or I'm going there specifically to visit Stevie and the dude's mom and dad. Those are the only people that I know that are going to probably remain in Louisiana that I give two shits or a fuck about. And the only real reason I could ever see going back to visit. Yep, I'm in Louisiana. TJ and Peyton are just off camera right here trying to remain quiet. I'll show you guys. Why don't you guys just come on cam? Oh, wait. You guys are like 1,000 miles away. Sorry. I'm telling you, Peyton, I know I run through this a lot, but this is the type of shit that is going through my mind recently. I am incredibly interested in building a studio setup, maybe here at the bunker, maybe down the road a piece at a different place. But my medium-term goal is to find a place and get a studio built, because I want to have a place that's comfortable and cool to chill in and set up so that we can just go out there and crank the show if we want to. So, no matter where we're all living, if the dudes want, they could fly in and do the work. I think it'd be dope. Paul doing coke. Yep, Brianna, you got me again. Got some Navy rolls here. Navy rolls, Navy rolls. For every pound TJ loses, I've gained 2. As well you should. Makes TJ's weight loss look even more dramatic, and that is your job. How do you feel about bathtubs? I feel like banning you for that stupid question. There you go. Honest question. How do you eat enough to gain weight like that? Like your stomach is an organ that stretches. So if you're a fat guy like me, your stomach is probably twice or three times the size of an average person's stomach in terms of what it can fit. Yeah, lots of carbs, lots of sugar, lots of stuff that's really bad for you. That's all you need to do if you want fat Brianna camp. Like if you're trying to get a big fat ass, just eat sugar and pizza. You know what I mean? Remember, I lost a lot of weight and I wasn't eating on Adderall, and then I cut it and switched to weed. I would get full on 2 bites. Right. Food is cathartic for a lot of people too. It releases dopamine, yes. That's why a lot of depressed people are also fat people. It's because people eat their feelings. Right? Yep. Peyton doesn't have other vices, so eating is his vice. The only vice is advice. Remember that. Hello, sweetheart.
I want to murder that thermostat.
So keep
that
doing
temp
it.
went up to 86. It was still on cool, but just got a stupid thermostat.
Need a smart thermostat, you and I.
Yeah. Or just one that doesn't decide to go, wee, random set temperature.
That would also be nice. Who would you say was worse, Obama or Trump? Worse for who? And worse in what ways? You see, like, Obama did damage beyond just being a disappointment. Or, let's put it this way, the fact that he was a disappointment did damage further beyond that disappointment. So Obama was a catastrophically bad president for a number of reasons. The main reason that I think Obama was a bad president has very little to do with any one single policy, but rather the amalgamation of all his policies and the transfer of political interest from young people and old people alike into the status quo. So Barack Obama came along and showed people that hope is a lie, that change is a lie, and that the status quo always wins no matter how charismatic the president. And that was incalculably damaging to populist presidential runs after it. Bernie Sanders almost certainly would have done better in this country had Barack Obama never existed. Almost certainly. Barack Obama created a generation of apathetic people, and who can blame them? So that's the damage of Barack Obama's presidency. Donald Trump pushed the narrative socially, swung it sharply to the right? Sharply. He fired up the most vile and racist parts of the Republican base and spoke directly to them via dog whistles and direct fucking racist shit, and reinvigorated a movement that was limping in this country, which was racism and racist groups and covertly racist groups. The election and single term of Donald Trump accomplished that. And there's no denying that it was his rhetoric and his presence that did it. Who was worse? I don't know. I will tell you this. I tend to be more critical of the people that are supposed to be aligned with me than the people that are supposed to be aligned against me. I tend to hold the people that are supposed to be aligned with me to a higher standard because I expect more from them. And so in my mind, Obama was a catastrophically poor president and probably the worst president of the two. He also had 2 terms. In terms of people killed as a result of policies, Trump, but it's close. You think so, huh? You think Trump killed more people with his policy in 1 term than Obama did in 2? You really think so?
Yeah, they're probably talking about COVID.
Well, Donald Trump didn't fucking create COVID in a lab.
And it seems like Biden's no better than Trump at getting states to do things. Everyone's just opening up under Biden.
Sure. I mean, I feel a little iffy blaming the COVID outbreak on Donald Trump and saying that that wouldn't have happened if some Democrat was in office. You know, the Democrats obstructed the correct fucking measures too. They were all aligned against Donald Trump closing the borders with China, and this was probably a month after we should have closed the borders with China.
Yeah.
So I don't buy this like argument that a Democratic presidency would have automatically done better with the COVID pandemic. I don't buy it at all. So
It's hard to say. It's like an unprecedented situation beyond the Spanish flu.
Trump got got rid of the federal pandemic response that was set up by Obama. H1N1 happened on Obama's watch and was handled extraordinarily poorly. It just didn't have the virality that COVID did. You have to understand, I'm not trying to politicize this or make excuses for the shit fucking job anybody in the government did dealing with the COVID pandemic. But this country was unprepared for that pandemic before Donald Trump was president. He didn't stop Ebola. There was an Ebola case in Texas. Like, there wasn't an Ebola outbreak in the United States.
yeah, Trump might have pushed back against some of the restrictions, but like, look what's happening now. Biden's like, please don't open, and like 10 states have opened, or 20.
Right. So I don't know. I will say that it's probable or maybe possible that a Democratic presidency would have handled pandemic response better, but I don't think it's a foregone fucking conclusion. I honestly don't, like a lot of people seem to think it is.
America's just a tricky beast to handle.
Especially when it comes to shit that has to be implemented nationally.
Yeah.
We're a carved up turkey here in the United States. There's a huge balance of states' rights built into our Constitution, and so states have wide latitude in how and when and if, in some cases, they adopt federal guidelines. And so, you could have had fucking a Democratic president saying, close the schools, close the shit down, and a bunch of Republican governors just to show their people how anti-Democrat they are, going, fuck you, we're not doing it. You know what I mean? Like, the idea that this pandemic wasn't going to slap America in the face with a big fucking wet dick under any administration is silly. This country was woefully, woefully, woefully unprepared for a pandemic. And that happened before Donald Trump. That was due to policies that predate Donald Trump. So,
Yeah. And it's just hard to say, like, because it's so 50-50 in this country, if any more people would have believed a Democrat president.
right.
Like, yeah, Trump might have set a bad example, but he only said it for the 50% of people that were going to follow him through the gates of hell.
Right. The hardcore fucking Trumpies and the people that believed in him as a president were the ones that listened to that, and then pretty much everybody that didn't like Trump did the exact opposite and listened to the medical experts. I don't see how that would have changed. The pandemic and the damage that it did will be studied for decades in this country. School children will learn about this. And I'm going to tell you, our understanding of how this pandemic happened and what went wrong is going to broaden over the next 10 and 15 years as we actually look back at what happened and the overall toll and scope of it. This will be something that school children will learn about for 100 years.
That seems like a lot of face. I don't remember learning much about the Spanish flu.
Right, but that was also 100 years before you were born.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying? Do you think this year will be a repeat of last year with regards to the pandemic, even with the vaccines? I don't think it can be. The vaccinations are rolling out so fast in so many places that, yeah, I do think that there are going to be a lot of people that refuse to get it, and there will be localized outbreaks of COVID and probably localized lockdowns and shit in certain areas. But
just by the virtue of the vaccines reducing mortality, then less people will die at the very least.
Right. It absolutely cannot, I don't think, revert to the absolute uncontrolled community spread that it had like last April, last May, last June.
It was really last November.
Well,
that it
sure.
went insane.
You're right.
Stupid fucking election backed by Thanksgiving, backed by Christmas was just not
The
a good
triple
combo.
whammy. You loved Psycho Gucci and you bumped it in your car. Yeah. Aw, to the yeah.
Yeah, I mean, Brandon, that's a good point. It's hard to trust other countries' numbers with that shit.
No, it's absolutely true. Like, the actual scope of COVID-19 will not be known for a couple of years after it's gotten under control, and the number will be staggering. The numbers and economic damage and personal human damage and ecological damage that will be directly tied to COVID-19 will be immense. This was a once-in-a-lifetime event. The stock market is great, though. Yippee skippy to the stock market.
Listen to her go. Chugging.
It's a long one.
That's the market right there. Chugging along.
Yep. Economos hungers. Economos just ordered the ultimate DoorDash, and there it goes. Line go up, line go down.
Y'all ready for some more company town?
Yep. Ready to sell your soul to the company store?
Decided to do some pipe tobacco and
Sounded relaxing.
yeah.
And it is. I don't know anything about Governor Greg Abbott. I recently found out my deceased father was friends with Kane. The Kane? Mayor Kane? Bloop.
No more arguing.
Broke up that argument.
You know what else is a weird connection? You heard about Woody Harrelson's dad?
Huh.
He was an assassin that killed a judge. And then after he was arrested, he claimed that he was involved in the Kennedy assassination.
Damn. I never knew that. Woody Harrelson's dad killed Kennedy. We're watching True Detective season 1 right now. And it's just getting to the kind of crazy good parts of it.
It's gotta be a weird childhood, dude. Your dad being an assassin.
Yeah. I mean, is that, like, how many people did his dad assassinate?
I think he killed 4 people or something.
Damn.
He got caught for the judge, and then he's like, wait, I was part of the Kennedy thing.
Yeah. Sounds a little spurious, but who knows?
Yeah, it just got baked into the conspiracy of the 3 men or whatever.
Right.
I'm sure you know that general thing. 3 dudes.
On the grassy knoll.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, dude. Woody Harrelson did that AMA on Reddit about some movie he was making,
Yeah.
and it just literally like went off the fucking rails. He came off as like the biggest fucking douchebag.
Yeah.
Like he was literally. I think it's still up for posterity on Reddit.
Probably.
It's one of the worst AMAs that was ever done. Probably the worst AMA ever done. It literally went off the rails almost immediately. He started responding all pompously to people, and then people just attacked him, and he sat there and like attacked back for hours. It was ridiculous. It was years ago though, for some cop drama he was in. Isn't he a raw foodist? I think so, yeah. Woody Harrelson is an old school hippie. Like he was an early proponent of legalizing hemp. Back in the day when the idea of legalizing marijuana was a complete and utter dream, Woody Harrelson had a hemp farm and was a big proponent of the legalization of the farming of hemp, which is derived from the marijuana plant. And so he, like it or not, was a very, very early crusader in the legalization of marijuana.
All right. I found it. It was 9 years ago for the movie Rampart.
Rampart, yeah. It goes on and on and on. Like he just, I don't know, dude. I think this AMA might have been what inspired a lot of people to start doing these obviously curated PR firm type AMAs. You know what I mean? Because it went off the fucking rails in a real tangible way.
Yeah.
Paul, I feel like you've become more mean to you audience. Why is that? What I think you probably ought to ask yourself that question. Why do you think I'm being mean to my audience? I work literally every day a week for my audience. Maybe you should ask yourself that question. I'm working harder for my audience than I ever have. If you mean like mean as in dismissive, I've always been this. Like, go back and watch a Highdeology from fucking like 4 years ago. Go watch a Highdeology from 2015 or 2016, 2017. Like, I've always clapped back at people on Highdeology and on the fucking stupid subreddit and shit. I like that. I like feeding that little tempest in a teapot. It's fun. It's a fun back and forth exchange. So I don't see that as mean either. Like, for example, if I fucking cuss somebody out and ban them here, they're unbanned within like 2-3 weeks. Or a month. You know what I mean? I do mass unbans here constantly. I don't know about that, Jared. I am kind of mean. Like, I can see how people would perceive me as a little bit mean because I just don't, you know what I mean? I have a problem woofing. And I'm opinionated and I stand my position on things and you know, a lot of people's minds that's mean.
You gotta be a little blunt sometimes when you're dealing with 100 or more people at one time.
And you got to be blunt sometimes when you're dealing with just one person.
Yeah.
I mean, life calls for that shit sometimes, but you know what I mean? Like It's one of the things that I took from my dad. It's almost businesslike. It's like there are certain points where people want to escalate things verbally, and all you've got to do is take it to there. And I don't know, like 80% of people fall away. I remember my dad telling me about this. My dad, for all his faults, had a lot of wisdom about one of the things that I think my dad had a lot of wisdom about was the psychological workings of people. My dad was very, very good at reading a person. Probably even better than I am at it, honestly. And I consider myself to be pretty good. My dad could have a person fucking sized up and know exactly what their worst fear was and like what drove them as a person in about 15 minutes max. He just knew. He just had a sense for how to lock in on a person and know their life story. Not every detail of it, but read them. You know, he had a facility for it. Probably would have made a good detective, or I hesitate to say he would have made a good mental health professional, because I think a lot of the tactics that he used, they were more detective-like. It was more about reading body language, inferring from the way people dress and present themselves and speak what's coming from them. My dad could tell a lie like that. Like that. I've told you guys the story of the dented trumpet. And when I was a kid, I always thought of that story as I almost got away with a lie. But I'm going to tell you guys the truth about that story. My dad engineered that shit. He didn't engineer me denting the trumpet. He knew I was fucking lying before he dragged me across the street. He was willing to start a fight and get one of my other friends' asses beat and then beat my ass for it. I know this for an absolute fact. So I want you to let that sink in. So the way that my dad was able to read people, it was not always used in a nice way, but he found an outlet for it that forced that, which was working in business. You can't be a rampaging Machiavellian asshole outright and overtly. You have to hide it as a boss, and you have to maintain a veneer that it doesn't exist as a boss. But my dad employed all the same tactics with the people that worked with him. And I soaked that up as a kid, man. I really do think that there's a lot of wisdom woven into that, even if it's stuff that you can misapply. Like, there are psychological manipulations that you can perform on people that are unethical in certain settings, but necessary in others. You know what I mean? It's a very, like, it's a psychology. Human psychology is the most interesting subject in the fucking world to me. My own psychology and how it relates to other people's psychology and the psychological underpinnings of the things that we do as people fascinate me to an endless degree. And I don't think my dad was at all fascinated by it for that. My dad was fascinated because it let him kind of be like a puppet master. He could diffuse people so quickly, redirect their anger, extinguish it if he needed to. And one of the things I remember him telling me was about loud people. He said, I was sitting in his office. And a dude came in, and my dad sat there, and this dude talked to my dad for like 10 minutes. And my dad just sat there quietly. And my dad said probably 3 words to the guy, and the guy turned around and left the office, right? I remember my dad looking over at me. He said, "Motor mouth." And I was like, "Yeah." And he said, "You know, a motor runs out of gas." And he's like, you get what I'm saying? Sometimes a motor mouth, you just got to let them go. And then whatever little thing it is that they blow off that steam, and then you just tell them like, "All right, go back to work." And they do it. He's like, a motor runs out of gas. And that has served me so fucking well in life, that advice. Because there are certain people that just gotta fucking like, they gotta blow off steam in an argument. And you can choose to escalate, or you can choose to just sit there. Because eventually it just like, and there reaches a point of like, and then you only have to say 2 or 3 fucking things to a person. He taught me that, I don't know, it's probably like 11, 12, 13, in that age range. Never forget that. Feel like I'm like that at my job. I mean, hey. It's like boxing, you just got to let them tire themselves out, sure. I mean, that's a good analogy for it, a good example for it. There are a lot of boxers that want to come out round 1 and just gas out and hope to get a big haymaker on you. And if you know you're going up against a fighter like that, you play defensively, focus on defense, focus on the jab, you make them work for it, and you go sit down in the corner and you're just warming up, and they sit down in the corner and they're gassed. And guess who just won the boxing match? You know what I mean? A lot of life is like that. At least that's what my dad taught me. And I struggle with it to this day, because I think he kind of necessarily had a combative way of looking at life. He really did look at life as a battleground. I think that's what made him good as a union leader. And I think that's what made him good as a corporate guy. But I don't know. I mean, look, like going into every human interaction with that in mind is not something you can do. And I feel like the honest appraisal that I have of my father is that he is that kind of person. My dad, I don't believe, ever had a conversation with me of note that he didn't go into it with some sort of overt psychological goal in mind in order to dominate that conversation in one way or another. He's an interesting human being, and being raised by him was interesting. My mom's also a very interesting human being, but in very different ways. My mom is almost like the opposite of my dad. Has a folksy way about her and an almost over openness that almost accomplishes some of the same things. It's like a gap filler in the philosophy of my dad. My mother is open about herself and unabashedly herself to the point where it's really disarming. And that's a completely different tactic, but it's ultimately a tactic striving towards the same goal, right? One thing I picked up from my dad that I don't like feeds my anxiety in a lot of social situations is my dad was always listening. My mom called him metiche, a Spanish word for being nosy. She's nosy too, though. She's very metiche as well. But my dad's always listening. Like, always, like, in a social situation, he's always. He'll have a conversation, but he's very aware of what's going on around him. Very aware of the timbre of the room. And that creates anxiety in me because I feel like I'm supposed to be doing that. And trying to tune in on that many conversations is just. I don't know. Metiche. Metido, which means inserted. Yeah. So, yeah, my mom picked that up growing up where I grew up. She grew up in the same area, and it is an overwhelmingly Hispanic area if you actually count undocumented people. If you look at the actual census numbers of where I grew up, it shows a relatively like 60-40 mix between Hispanic and white people, but the real numbers are more like 90-10, because there are so very many undocumented people that live in the area.
Yeah, just like probably at least half of the township is just farmland.
Yeah.
Not more.
Chismoso, yeah. My mom never used that one, but she used metiche a lot. She used to scold us for being metiche. But my dad was very metiche. And not in necessarily the I'm going to butt my nose in it, but he was cataloging. You know what I mean? Yeah, chismoso means you tell. Yeah, chismoso is like a tattletale. So metiche is somebody that's always listening and always like being nosy, and a chismoso is like a gossip.
That's probably more how your mom is.
Yeah, you're right. My dad was metiche, and my mom is chismoso. Dude, my mom, it's a trip, dude. Her neighborhood is her world. She's from a different world. She really is a different time when people would settle and then their neighborhood and it's really weird because she's of a dying breed of people that think of houses that way. But my mom's world is basically her neighborhood. And she knows everybody in it. She knows who's getting a divorce. She knows who's having a fucking breakdown. She knows whose kids are acting up. She knows who got fired. She knows who's moving. She knows who's moving in. And she wants to talk about it all the time and tell you. She's mozo. She's moza. She's a chismosa. Are you a chismosa, Brianna? Are you always like, oh my God, did you hear about Becky? She got butt implants. I bet you're chismosa. I get chismosa vibes off of Brianna. Brownies for all in the neighborhood. So you have nosy parents. Yeah. Two very different kinds of nosy, but yeah, I had nosy parents for sure. Parents that like really raised me in a way, from example, that they were very socially aware people, and I am a very socially aware person. I can read awkwardness in a room like a goddamn fucking red spray paint mural on the wall. What exactly makes your mom a dying breed? Because she thinks of her world as her neighborhood and invests in that neighborhood. She's a fixture in that neighborhood. Everybody says hello to her. She literally holds court in her neighborhood. She loves sitting on her front porch on her lawn chair so that all the people that come by honk and wave at her, and the people that walk their dogs by all say hello, and the kids that ride their bikes by all say hello. She holds court.
We're the opposite. We're in the backyard.
Yep. I don't want to know my motherfucking neighbors. I mean, I don't have nothing against them, but I don't give a fuck what's going on in their lives, and I don't want them to give a fuck what's going on in mine. I want to be left the fuck alone. What's your new tattoo gonna be and where? I'm gonna get my hands and forearms done. That's my goal at the very least. That's where I want to start. Chismoso. You ever gonna shave your head again? Maybe. I don't know. I like having long hair a lot. So something would have to happen where I just get really fed up of having hair, and then I'd do it again. Hair grows.
Yeah, but what if you cut it and then it doesn't grow back? And that's the second you start going bald.
That's true. Well, then farewell to the long hair, I guess. I won't hold on to the long hair if I start going bald.
You're not gonna do the rat tail shit.
No. Hell to the fuck no. You know what? I'm not even gonna say it. I was gonna say some shit, and I'm not gonna say it. I'm not even gonna. It was mean. It came. It's a mean spirited thing for me to say, and I'm not gonna say it.
Is that bad?
It was bad. It was just straight out like there's no justification for it other than for me to be mean to the person that I was gonna say it about, and it's a person that everybody here would know. One of my coworkers, and that's all I'm gonna say. I'm not gonna fucking say it. I'm not gonna talk about it. It was so mean. I hope the beard never goes. I mean, I don't know if old men go beard bald. But, if I have to get radiation therapy or something, then I'll have to go beardless.
It ain't
No,
coming
dude,
out.
I ain't talking about. Okay, fuck it. I'll just say it. I'll boomerang it because this is gonna get back around to him, and it's gonna come off as mean. Scotty is a few years younger than TJ. Scotty's got a good hairline and everything. Scotty's doing good, but TJ, like, and I noticed it the other day, and I didn't say shit to him because I knew it would be mean, like this is. But whatever. It's receded. The thing that's this thing over here, this thing. That thing right there, this part, it goes like back to here, like on TJ. It's like all the way back here. Poor TJ.
But it's not long like it was, so you can't say it's a bald mullet.
Not yet. Don't mean he'll go fully bald all that soon. I mean, I don't know, dude. TJ's very sensitive about that. I know. I know, dude. That's why it was mean for me to fucking bring it up. TJ will soon be rocking the Mr. Burns. See, I think TJ looks dope with a fucking bald head. TJ's got an actually, like, decently nice round head. And he looks good with his hair cropped short and shit. That's the route I would go if I were TJ. Bald with a beard works on a lot of people. Hell yeah. It looks good. Did I miss a super chat?
Oh, just Crescent Slice saying that he's glad that he started a topic
Oh, yeah.
earlier with being mean to the chat.
Oh, yeah. True dat, dude. You did. And thank you for your contribution. Look at my videos 10 years ago. My hairline hasn't changed. I mean, well, TJ, he didn't have he knows he didn't have a super strong hairline back then, but that doesn't mean that it hasn't changed. Like, it doesn't matter, dude. Ultimately, TJ looks how TJ wants to look. And for me to critique his baldness was mean. Or him going bald was mean.
Well, look at the Scotty on your shirt. What's going on with that hairline?
Yeah, I don't know. I never noticed that. Look at Scotty. What happened? There it is. Did you see it? Scotty looks like a member of fucking the Bee Gees on this shirt. I fucking love it. Every time I look at it, I hear, ah.
But yeah, I don't know. Maybe it's just my perspective's weird, but it seems like it's more parted than maybe it should be, but it might just be something else.
I don't know, dude. He looks like hot Jesus. Yeah. He looks like a BG. Dude, I knew a kid that already had the like thinning shit up here in high school. Some dudes, and like, I don't really fucking care. That's the fucked up thing about it for me, is I never cared. Like, if I was going bald, I just shaved my fucking head. I look good, cue ball. Keep the beard. It's a look. It's never been a concern for me. Like, it sucks that young. Well, I mean, Brianna, you're in an interesting position with the baldness thing and, you know, HRT and a lot of that shit, right? I don't assume, but HRT halts a lot of the shit that builds up in men that leads to baldness. I'm 20. Please don't ban me too. I hate my face. Huh?
Oh, I think she's like, don't be me too. Don't be a person that goes bald early.
Oh.
want their hair to cover their face.
That Brian guy on CNN looks good bald. Yeah, no, but you know what? He would probably look fucking 10 times better if he'd grow out a beard. Not like a long ass beard, but just like a well trimmed beard. And then just got rid of that fucking side skull thing. Like in my opinion, old men can pull off the side skull. Like when you're a super old dude, the side skull kind of looks cool. But if you're like younger, you can't do the side skull. You know what I mean? That's Stelter's issue. That's how I would change up Stelter's thing, because he's got that side skull fucking thing going on. And it's like, what are you even doing with that? Who's buying that? You know, grow a beard.
That reminds me, like, this is how much hair my 86-year-old grandpa has after radiation.
Dude,
It's
he's still got a fro.
Yeah.
And he looks healthier than me.
I don't know about healthier, but it's like,
Jesus
Dude's-
Christ, he looks about like 10 years older than me. He's 80 fucking 4.
86.
6. Fuck. What race of people do you think pull off the bald look the best? I don't know if a race has a lock on bald. Let's go through like some principal racial groups and look at how they look bald. Let's start with my race, the Whitey. Whiteys have Vikings, and Vikings look crazy good bald. They paint their head up all blue. They got the fucking beard that comes down with all the adornments in it, right? You can't deny that's a dope look. Okay, let's move on to Asian people. They have a ton of amazing bald looks. Look at fucking, you know, the old kung fu movies and shit. A lot of the old kung fu masters were bald with the long mustache and shit. They pull it off. For real. You go like Indian Asian. They pull it off. A lot of gurus have like the long hair with the bald fucking head, and it fits that whole fucking aesthetic, right? Fucking look at Yoga Dalsim, Yoga Flame, Buddha style, exactly. All that shit mixed in with the Asian cultures, the Arabic cultures, all have a baldness thing that fucking dude. It's traditional. They just look good, bald beard. You know what I mean?
I don't know.
Black folks.
I'd say that black people probably pull off the no beard and bald look best.
You're probably right about that. If you're excluding the no beard bald, you're right about that. Because there have been some stunning black women that have gone completely bald, and it looks fucking amazing on them. Mm-hmm. And if like fucking Britney Spears did it and she looked insane, you know? So it's like, that's true.
And then like for black guys, I think the beard to balance it out isn't as necessary.
Is this a hairist conversation that we're having right now?
I don't know.
A hair privilege conversation? It seems to me that every race pulls it off. I don't think it's a racially based thing. I think black folk might pull it off better than most, on the whole. But I think that all races are represented in the bald look. Who's the best baldy? Dude, dude, you know who's a really good baldy? What's his name? He's a basketball player in the 90s. He played for Phoenix. Charles Barkley. Charles Barkley. Patrick Stewart does pull it off. You're right. He's the template for the old man Brian Stelter look that Brian Stelter's trying to pull off, but not getting there. Captain Jean-Luc Picard of the USS Enterprise. You're right, Chelsea. Dude, it was so mean of me to fucking talk about TJ.
Maybe she wasn't here. Now you're making it even more likely.
I know. I just assumed she was listening in. I was just talking about TJ's hairline, and then we started talking about baldness, and then now we're talking about who looks the best bald. But I said it was mean for me to even bring it up. But you know how Highdeologies be. Every time I try and walk away, they pull me back in. See, the thing about TJ is this. Somebody earlier said TJ's sensitive about it. And I understand that. And as his friend, I don't want to make him feel bad. But the thing about TJ is this. TJ is going to look fucking badass no matter what he does. TJ has a look. TJ is a vibe. Can we just admit it? He's one of those people. He's a vibe. When he does whatever he wants with his fucking hair beard combo, he's a vibe. You think his hairline is receding? Un poco. Un poco. Chels, I brought it up the other day. Or I saw it the other day. We were setting up for a thing. I didn't say a fucking thing about it. But he was setting up a thing, and he bent down, and I synced it from the top. And it's this part right here. This area right here is going like, not like super fucking far. I'm not saying yeah. For me, like, and just like it's noticeable in the time that I've known him. But only slightly.
You don't live around him anymore, so you
right.
don't see him that often.
That's true. I haven't seen TJ face to face in like a year now, almost. Well, maybe not. When was the last time I saw TJ?
You didn't come the last time I went over to their place to get more groomed.
Yeah, I saw Chelsea when I dropped Dinor.
Yeah, but you never came over, I don't think.
So yeah, it's been a hot minute since I've been, around TJ. I was not dancing on his hairline, dude.
You profusely apologized for even thinking.
I did, dude. It was a mean thought, and I tried to change the subject. This is gonna be the Mounds comment, but with TJ, dude, that was the fucking worst. See, maybe this is payback for that. Because it was TJ that blew up the Mounds thing. He blew it up. Dude. I don't even want to tell the story again. It's not my story. I've told the story a million fucking times. But let's just say I brought him a bro thing, and he blew up the bro thing. Like, this was right when I first met TJ. I was in LA with my ex-girlfriend, and we had a friend from Australia that had flown down And she was there, and we were all kind of staying in the same hotel room for a day. And then she got her own hotel room. But that first night, we had double beds, and she was in the room. And I woke up, and she had just gotten up. She was looking out the window, and she clearly thought me and my girlfriend were asleep. And she was looking out the window, and the sun was coming up, and it shone through the. And she was bending out the window, and she had her like underwears on because she had just gotten up. She was just kind of looking out and like breathing the air, and I saw the mound. You know what I mean? The outline, the camel toe. And it wasn't like a full camel toe, but I saw it like in sharp relief
In the thigh gap.
in the thigh gap with the sun coming through it and shit in the morning. That was what I woke up to. And so I saw it. I cataloged it in my brain, and I didn't fucking sit there and gawp at it for a fucking hour. I was like, I just woke up, and I was like, all right, and I made some noise, and she was like, oh, yeah, we got up, we all got dressed, and everything was cool. And then I went to go chill with TJ at the Airbnb. And I told him, I was like, dude, I have to tell you what I saw today. He's like, what? And I just told him I saw the mounds, you know what I mean? And he started laughing. He's like, the mounds? And I was like, yeah, dude, like the little hillocks I don't know what you call it. I see what you mean. It's just a triangle on the top of the forehead. I'm not trying, like, dude, Chelsea, don't even bring it up to him. Don't do it. I don't want to hurt TJ's feelings with it. I said it was mean, and it was. And, it was not my intention to be mean. But anyway, the mounds thing. So I told him that. And then as soon as that chick came over to the Airbnb, he was like, Paul saw your fucking mounds this morning. And she was like, hey, so what? I can't do the fucking Australian accent. I was in trouble. She punched me so fucking hard. But see, that's the thing, Chelsea. Did you hear what I was saying about TJ earlier? The fucked up thing about it is that TJ thinks it's a problem, but it's not. TJ is a vibe. He's one of those people that's always going to look dope no matter what. Of course you didn't notice. You're his fucking wife. You look at him through rose-tinted glasses.
And every day.
And you love him and you cherish him. I love him too, but as a friend. And part of my job is looking at him in mean ways because we have to be mean to each other sometimes, See? That's what fucking counts. That's all that counts. TJ's a vibe. No matter how he keeps his hair, no matter what he lets happen up there, no matter what he decides to do with it, he's a vibe.
Except the page boy. That was the one.
Okay, the page boy, that was not a good vibe. The page boy vibe was real bad.
But every other one of them's hit.
Yeah.
Besides that one.
True. TJ looked dope as fuck with the shaved head. He looked dope as fuck with the long hair, the half-shaved head.
The mohawk thing.
Yeah, the mohawk, the fucking short kind of hair as it grew out. Had kind of like dude, TJ's just a vibe. He just works. You're right, Chelsea. It was not a good vibe, but it is still a vibe. You're right. I won't deny that. It's a vibe. Yeah, he just pulls it off, you know what I mean? And that's all that matters in life. Having good hair genetics is wasted on a person like me because I don't give a fuck.
But you have the most luxurious locks of all.
It sucks.
Why does it suck?
I wish I could give these locks to someone that would fucking use them.
You use them?
Dude, Chelsea, you got way better hair than me. Don't even trip on it. My hair's frizzy as fuck. It's frizzy, it's long, it gets in my hair. I got flyaways, I got split ends. Chelsea. Split ends! I haven't had an end trim in like a year and a half. I've never actually had an end trim. I haven't cut my hair at all since TJ shaved my hair in the backyard of the fucking tinderbox. You remember that shit? TJ took the dog clippers to my fucking head. I have not had a pair of scissors on this hair since that day. You can imagine the ends.
And I've probably gone longer. I haven't had this cut since like the very, very beginning of 2018.
See?
So we both have split end central.
Yep. Split end, city, do-wah-diddy. But who cares? We're hippies.
Yeah.
Come on, people now. Smile on your brother. Did Howard Bloom and Galen ever talk? No, they didn't. And if they had, you would know they had because existence would have fallen into the vortex. So trust me, you'll know if they ever speak. You'll hear it round the world. It'll be like the ultimate fucking Voldemort Harry Potter beam. Does Galen still hate marshmallows? I imagine he does, yes. They trolled him pretty hard with marshmallows.
Oh, I'm sorry, Otello. I didn't mean to step on your toes.
It's okay, dude. It happens all the time. Double squishes happen all the fucking time.
Can I re-squoosh, please? Thank you.
How many pets you got? None. We have furry roommates.
No.
We have 2. They're not pets. Pets are animals that you are in charge of. We're not in charge of them. They are in charge of us. We're just responsible for them. 3 for Leyland Galen. Yep. We got a kitty and we got a dog. Dinor and Cricket. We have furry dictators, yes. Furry rulers. Yeah. And we make great pets. Just like porno for pyros said back in the 90s. Good old Perry Farrell. You got to see Jane's Addiction, right?
Yep.
So you've seen Perry Farrell
Yep.
on stage.
Big old bottle of red.
Yep, of course.
Waving at the titties.
Yep. Jane said, did you give him a little? Did you show him a little titty?
I was a sophomore in high school, so no.
Oh. Whoops. I thought you went a little later in life.
No. Actually, I was even younger than that.
Whoops.
I wasn't gonna get none.
Oh, well, those things I thought you did after high school. It's okay. Honest mistake. Whoopsie daisy.
It's okay. I never clarified when I went with you, so.
Dude, if Chris Hansen walks around this corner right now, I'm fucked, man. Paul, why don't you remain seating? I'm going to sit. No, I'm going to stand. I'm going to stand right over here. This comment that you just made, did you just imply that a middle schooler should show her breasts at a rock concert? Sir, I didn't realize that she was a middle schooler. She told you she was a middle schooler the first time she told you this story.
No, I didn't. That was my bad.
We have the records. Sir, all I was doing was sitting outside. We were just hanging out. Just hanging out. Isn't that what you told her to do to her middle school aged breasts at that concert? Just hang them out, sir? No, I didn't. Am I going to be arrested? You're free to leave. That's all I can tell you. You're free to go. Son of a bitch. Get down, get down. Stream has ended, yeah. Oh, man. What else was hanging out? Did you send pictures of your penis? She was 20, what, 22?
Yep. No.
Was she? How did you know that? I don't know, sir. Exactly. You're free to leave. Do you think Galen would be a good addition to the show? I remember him being very articulate. No, not anything against Galen, but I think that Galen would immediately dominate and become the show.
Especially with the format it's in now, where it's more informational.
Mm-hmm. Crazy that me and Amelia are like the same age. Why?
That's how the world works. It's all the ages.
Yep. People are like a certain ages and shit. You know what I mean? It's like, whoa. Sometimes you're the same age as somebody else.
Sorry, I didn't mean to
Oh,
be
no.
demanding.
No, it's all good. I just forgot we only have one out here. I was confused. There we go. That's its new spot. You ever check the age demographic for your channel? It skews heavily male, and the last time I checked, it skews heavily like
20
18. Well, it's like 18 to like 28 is my main demographic. So males between the ages of 18 and 28. What did you guys have for dinner tonight? Amelia made some spaghetti for herself, and I didn't eat.
Actually, I just did a sandwich.
Oh, you just made a sandwich?
Yeah, so I'll make you a sandwich too when you get hungry if you want.
Yeah, I just haven't been hungry yet, so I haven't eaten anything for dinner, to be honest with you. We had delicious spaghetti. Dude, Chelsea, I don't know if you've tried it yet, but we've gotten that Impossible meat. And Amelia made spaghetti with it last night, and it was really good. I couldn't even fucking, honestly, couldn't even fucking tell the difference. It's really good. Browns up like meat and everything. So.
Holds up in red beans and rice real well.
Yep, she made red beans and rice with it, and it came out really good. Paul, do you ever cook? If so, what kind of dishes? The things that I can cook are very limited. I make a killer scrambled eggs, like breakfast stuff, minus the pancakes. I'm pretty fucking good at. I'm not great at pancakes. So breakfast stuff, I'd say I'm pretty expert at. I make a really decent burger. Like, if I'm left to my own devices, I can make a really, really decent burger. And I'm really good on the grill. So you hand me a piece of meat, I can fucking marinate / come up with a dry rub for that meat, and I can cook that meat like a motherfucker on the grill. Spaghetti sounds so good. You should try it out. You guys should try getting like a little pack of that Impossible meat if you can, and just make a fucking old school pot of spaghetti with it and see how you feel about it. It was actually mad decent. We've been trying to cut down on the amount of meat that we're consuming, so I could see that being a staple, especially if like the price of it comes down a little bit, more commensurate with meat. Garlic bread is good, yes. A few days ago, we had corned beef and cabbage that was just fucking amazing. Out of this world corned beef and cabbage.
But we learned very quickly that leftover corned beef and cabbage is not the way to go.
No, corned beef and cabbage is best consumed the day of. Let's put it that way. Corned beef with cabbage fried with bacon and candied carrots. That was the realness right there.
Smashed potatoes.
Smashed potatoes, that's right. Impossible meat isn't too much healthier than regular meat. It's not about being healthier, it's about not consuming an animal. It's about it being plant-based.
There's also different needs for health, like
Sure.
cholesterol. Things can be low in cholesterol and high in other things, but if cholesterol is your issue, then
Yep.
that's where you gotta be.
I recently had corned beef and cabbage on St. Patty's Day. Good stuff. Oh, man.
Dude, you know what that reminds me of?
What?
Fucking Peyton's iceberg lettuce.
That's my favorite Peyton story so far. Peyton, go get me some cabbage. And then he presents Scotty. Scotty, what would you call this? A head of iceberg lettuce. Ah, damn it. Oh, Peyton. Well, that and the bologna. I think the bologna is actually my favorite. I have never in my life seen bologna that was that thick. It was that fucking thick, dude. Peyton's great, dude. Peyton's a fucking he's a character for sure. He's a card, as one of my old teachers used to say. Had a really old teacher when I was in grade school named Mrs. Murthy. And my friend Rodney would say every morning, "Hell hole, Miss Monkey." And she would say, "Oh, Rodney, you're such a card." Hellhole, Miss Monkey. You would try and sneak it by her. "Oh, Rodney, you're such a card."
She probably didn't hear him all the way if she was older.
Yeah, that was the point. I think she heard a little bit of it. That's why she called him a card. He's the Joker's card, yeah. Dude, I had a really good time catching up with Rodney, talking about old school days and stuff. It's crazy to do that at age 40, to talk to somebody that you went to, grade school with.
Yeah.
And, all the things that you remember and all the fun memes and stuff. It was a good conversation. It did my heart good to reminisce a little bit. I reminisce. A card, yeah. You're such a card, Rodney. There was this We knew this guy, his name was Chad, a cockroach within the gum that he had. That was a lyric to one of our very early songs. There was a kid named Chad at our middle school, and he was an asshole. He was like one of those kids that was just, I don't know, probably had ADHD real bad or something, but he was just a jerk to everybody. And he walked up to us one day and he was like, how much? He had a cockroach and a big piece of chewed bubble gum, and the cockroach was stuck in it. And he was like, how much you bet I'll eat this? And we were like, and he did it. So that was what he was well known for. And Chad became synonymous with asshole and still is between me and Rodney. Like if I say the word Chad to Rodney, he knows I'm talking about my ass.
Kind of became it as a meme too, the Chad meme.
Oh, well, yeah. It means a different thing to me and Rodney.
Yeah.
The name Chad, I've never been able to fully buy the whole Chad versus virgin meme, because the name Chad is just forever means asshole to me. It forever means like a douche. So, but yeah, no, a Chad is your butt, just so you know. Yeah, even Chad the bird. It was the perfect name for him, though. Chad the cardinal. I hope he's doing good over there.
Yeah, he's got all the bitches.
He had it on lockdown over there, so I don't see why it wouldn't be.
Yeah. I mean, now we got a Chad Blue Jay, but he's more, I think, private than Chad the Cardinal was.
Yeah, that's true. Chad the country, yeah. Imagine being named Chad and being from Chad. I'm Chad from Chad. I love you, baby.
Love you too.
Imagine being named Karen. That would suck nowadays. Like a lesbian from Lesbos. Wait. That makes sense, though. Eating turkey in Turkey. Sitting with Ivory on the coast in Cote d'Ivoire. Now we're getting real. Dude, I'm gonna use that in a Beauregard song. I'm in Cote d'Ivoire, draped in ivory, sitting on the coast, feeling vibey. Oh yeah, dude. Yup. It just happened. Whale watching in Wales. That's a stretch. That one's a stretch. That one is a stretch. Oh yeah, eating a Dutch oven meal or getting Dutch ovened in Deutschland. Yeah. Having a clean tooth in Britain. What? Frenching in France. Yeah. Yeah. Being named French while eating French bread and Frenching in France. There was actually a guy named French Stewart back in the day. So it's a name. French. Your name is French. You're Frenching while eating French bread in front of a French cathedral in France. Sipping on high C on the high C. Yep. Belcham and that almost reminds me of like a fucking what's his name line. God damn it, can't remember him. Can't remember his name. I'm brain farting his fucking name. Big fat guy rapper. I guess he's not fat anymore. Fat beardy guy. Hopping out the Rover, parrot on my shoulder. Action Bronson. Thank you. Gucci Mane. Your last name is Saud in Saudi Arabia. I mean, that must be nice, though. That's probably nice, right? If your name is Al Saud in Saudi Arabia, you're probably rich as fuck. Probably like drive a Rolls Royce and shit. Well, I've run out of gas. I'm gonna hit it. I'll see you guys later. Bye.